So, welcome to episode 2 of the unnamed podcast at this point.
Yep. We're going to be going over some of our thoughts and reactions about the Triller card that happened last night.
And we brought on a guest, my father, the old man, who was correct on all his picks, as were we, for this card, but we'll get into that.
Not that difficult.
No, not at all. Not this one.
It really was not. It went exactly how it was going.
The Triller thriller that wasn't.
The Triller, the Thriller in Hollywood, Florida, instead of Manila. It's like a discount one.
It was just a mess.
So I'll just jump right into it. Anderson Silva KOs Tito Ortiz in 81 seconds into the first round. I'll tee it up for you guys, and you guys can give your thoughts on that.
Honestly, I expected Tito to last a little longer. I was thinking I even said in the first video, early stoppage probably, but I didn't expect Tito to just last 81 seconds. I thought he could take a bit more than that.
Well, Sean, you bring up an interesting point, and the way you put it was perfect because we'll segue into Jenna Jameson thought Tito would last longer too. And
that's exactly what I was looking.
It's a surprise for everybody, isn't it? Tito just finishes quick, I guess.
He's real fast.
Perfect segue.
Well, we had mentioned the size of his head. I wonder if that correlates or not.
Yeah, I think because Tito's a big guy, I expected him to be able to take at least a couple more shots. But
yeah, he's such a big guy, just massive skull.
So unlike Morgan and Morgan's new campaign, size doesn't always make that big of a difference.
True. I did expect him to have at least the power advantage, and maybe he did, but it doesn't matter because he couldn't land pretty much anything. How many total strikes did he land? Do we know that?
I don't think he landed a single clean one.
Yeah.
Anderson toyed with him. Right? He just went there, dodged all his hooks. I mean, when Tito was standing in the corner throwing 3 left hooks in a row, the speed of a snail.
The speed difference just really showed last night,
It was really bad, but I do have to wonder, what factor did the weight cut play in this, in terms of Tito's inability to take a punch? I mean, the first clean punch Anderson landed floored him, and he looked really slow. And we've seen that weight cutting can really impact your chin, and the fact that he missed weight by 5 pounds and the weight cut was terrible for him.
Let's take a look at his speed, or let's compare his speed to let's say the Chuck Liddell fight, the third Chuck Liddell fight. He wasn't much faster then. He was a bit faster maybe, but he wasn't exactly spry in that fight either.
He's not a boxer.
Yeah.
He's not a boxer. He's a wrestler. He's MMA.
Yeah, exactly.
Deal. So what might translate to decent speed in a street fight does not in the ring. And Silva has, he's got some boxing skill and he's been training and that's what he's been doing. So big difference.
It was a complete mismatch. I don't think this fight should have ever been made. And Tito even said he wasn't upset about it. He was like, Anderson's been training boxing a lot longer than me. I'm a wrestler. I'm new to this. And then, did you see who he called out?
Was it Jake or Logan?
He called out Logan Paul. He said, "You know what? Neither of us have ever won a boxing match. Someone's O has got to go."
Well, that was awesome.
At that point, I never thought I'd say I'd favor a Paul brother in a fight, but I think Tito gets beat there too. I think
you didn't favor Jake Paul against hip replacement retired.
Of course I did. I never like to admit it, but I did.
Well, Ben Askren ushered in a new era of old washed MMA veterans taking L's.
Yeah.
But,
you must be really
once
proud
you got
of
a winning formula, stick with it.
I guess so. But I actually wouldn't mind that fight for Tito, but honestly, I don't know. It would be better just to see him retire at this point.
Yeah.
I will say it was bittersweet though, because you got to see Anderson Silva do Anderson Silva things, which is
always
great.
Nice.
And then everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh, this is for Chuck." So, I mean, karma gets you in the end.
Yep.
So,
that Chuck Tito.
Well, it was kind of cool to see a Brazilian win standing up.
I guess so. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. No jiu-jitsu, no jiu-jitsu in this one. They should have let him come in a gi, but no.
I almost thought Tito or Vitor's instincts would take over and he just shoot for a takedown and choke him out. But good to see.
I think we should switch and talk about the Brazilian. I mean, he did win the fight, and he did it in a very impressive fashion. Anderson, the Spider Silva at 46, he seems to be turning back the clock. I mean, he looked really fast, or Tito looked really slow, but before this, he did beat a pro boxer. It's Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
So what's next for Anderson?
It's a good question.
He seems to be gunning for one of the Paul brothers, doesn't he?
He hasn't really mentioned them that I've seen, actually.
No, I imagine I thought that would be his next step, get that secure that bag, but
well, I think he could legitimately fight low-level pro boxers.
Oh, absolutely, he could. But the question is, does he really want to?
Everybody wants a Paul brother. It's a payday.
Yeah, exactly. Is he prioritizing just continuing fighting? Is that what he wants, or does he just want to make some cash?
Well, perhaps I should rephrase that then. Is there any way that Jake Paul or Logan Paul even are willing to take that fight with Anderson?
No way.
I mean, that is a horrendous match right there. I mean, you're fighting someone who's on the caliber of a decent, I would say, pro boxing level, fighting against a YouTube boxer. Why would you take that fight if you're Jake Paul? That's awful. And Anderson can make it look bad.
Logan
maybe in an exhibition. I wouldn't mind seeing an exhibition there, but Anderson could end that whenever he wanted.
True, because in my mind, Jake Paul loses his ability to get these fights with these older legends after one beats him. Then the MMA community is satisfied, we saw him get beat finally.
That's exactly.
I think I'd lose some of the interest in seeing him fight.
That's the celebrity fight model. Is once the bubble bursts, it's gone. But I don't know. I actually think that a smart move for Anderson Silva would actually be fighting the victor of the main event of this card. I think Anderson Silva should box Tito Ortiz. They fought once in MMA. Or should box Vitor. Sorry, not Tito Ortiz. Yeah. I think he should box Vitor Belfort. I think that would be a really fun fight. I mean, Vitor's 44, Anderson's 46. So they fought in the same weight class. They fought before in the UFC. Why not?
That would be interesting.
That would be entertaining for sure.
So I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Interesting to see how it goes, just boxing and obviously Silva's still quick, but Vitor's much better at stand-up than Tito. And plus he looks juiced. I don't think I'm saying anything controversial in saying that, so I'd be interested if Anderson would even really want to take that fight. Going up against a guy who's that strong, that juiced.
I mean, he already did in MMA.
True, but once again, completely different. Setting. He's younger than, I think younger guys are a bit more willing to take that risk than older.
Well, who's to say Anderson Silva's not on the sauce right now? I mean, 46, he looked pretty good, and if I'm not mistaken, he had 2 USADA violations while he was in the UFC. Now, he told everyone it was a tainted Thai Viagra, one of those gas station pills to help your performance. But,
yeah.
Well, we gotta ask the hooker that he hooked up with. So.
Exactly.
No, track her down.
And since he's boxing and he's got the iconic yellow shorts on, can he bring the Burger King sponsorship back? That was always the funniest thing. On his trunks, right by his butt, there was a Burger King logo. So he's front kicking people, and you just see the king.
The king. The Burger King reigns supreme.
So, all right, well, we'll move on to the main event there. Vitor Belfort defeats Evander Holyfield at 149 in the first round.
Yeah.
And I would like to start this off with, can we just acknowledge the walkouts? I mean, that was Vitor's walkout was one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen.
Just pure Brazilian propaganda.
It was the Brazilian national anthem, and they had this giant screen by the crowd, and they're literally just showing pictures of cool stuff in Brazil.
I mean, you gotta boost those tourism rates somehow, Zach.
It looked like a propaganda film just straight out of the Third Reich, but drop it for Brazil. I mean, it was the funniest thing ever. And he had ring girls, these scantily clad, voluptuous women walking out with Brazilian flags in front of it. I mean, it was the funniest thing ever. And then you have the American one, which is like, all right, they brought in the kid to sing the national anthem. I think they had like an 8-year-old, fantastic voice. It was really cool. And then they're like, let's have a moment of silence for 9/11. And then, I kid you not, during almost the entire moment of silence, you just hear a fight break out in the crowd. You hear this woman yelling, "Shut the up," to like some other people there, and you just hear this whole little melee going on. Triller's trying to change the camera angle so you can't hear it, but the fight keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well, that's just, quintessential Triller and Florida,
Well, you guys might not remember, but there was a famous playmate from Playboy that died in that same hotel.
Really?
Yes. So I guess it kind of all fits.
Well, they were fighting in the Seminole Hard Rock, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was. I will say though, the card was actually really fun. Like I didn't really know a lot of the boxers. Now I knew a little bit about David Hay, but he was fighting in his former training partner. It just looked like a sparring match. I think it was actually an exhibition. But the card itself was pretty entertaining, and the crowd just would randomly burst into cheering for the new Triller commentator, Donald Trump.
Hey, yeah.
You just hear the crowd chanting, "We want Trump," in the middle of the fights when the fights are too boring. It was really funny.
It was an interesting plan, to bring Trump.
Here's the fight. Here's the fight we want to see. Biden said he was going to take Trump behind the schoolyard and beat him up. Remember?
Oh yeah, that'll be Triller's next big match is Donald Trump versus.
No, that would be something I'd like to see, because I'm pretty sure Biden wouldn't beat Trump up. But I thought that was hilarious when he said, I can't remember exactly what the issue was over, but during the run up to the last election, Biden made that comment.
I just want to see how long it would take before they both get tired.
Well, before the fight card, like a few days out, there was an interviewer who asked Trump, they're like, if you had to box anyone, who would it be? And he goes, I would box Joe Biden because he's the easiest person on the planet to box. So Trump's in, Biden says he's in. Come on, Triller. We get the Florida Commission. I bet you they'll approve it because they allowed Evander Holyfield to fight.
They would certainly approve it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did say though, what did you think about the stoppage of that fight? Holyfield is saying that it was a little early.
Looked a little early to me. I mean, he wasn't doing anything offensively, but he certainly seemed like he was defending himself.
I mean, I think I'm kind of okay with it, even if, like by normal standards, it might seem like a little early, but.
Well, 10 seconds left in a round. Come on. I mean, he did get knocked down, but he got back up. And throughout his career, Holyfield was a comeback fighter. And the guy was always in shape. And I don't think he was in danger of being physically hurt. Do you?
It's hard to say. With someone who's 58 and he's had as many, I mean, Holyfield's had some absolute wars in his career. The Riddick Bowe trilogy comes to mind. And also the 2 fights with Tyson. But
I mean, I would still say, like, even if, like he could continue on that second round, I don't think he would have found his groove quick enough.
I don't think he
Vitor's
was going
just
to
too
do
strong,
anything, and his ears certainly weren't going to grow back. So I mean, I'm kind of okay with it, but
yeah,
the timing was bad. I mean, I think that after that second knockdown, that was definitely a knockdown. He could have maybe stopped it right then.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with the knockdown, the stoppage there, but I have to ask, what do you think is next for Holyfield? And the reason I have to say that is because 50 Cent was trying to play matchmaker, and he was also on the commentary team. And he was talking to him outside the ring, and Holyfield saying, I was fine. This is a ridiculous stoppage. And 50 Cent said, you know what? What do you think about a third fight with Tyson? Because that was the original reason Holyfield signed with Triller. Really? Was under the idea that he was supposed to fight Mike Tyson again.
I think I'd like to see him step away again, and but if he's determined to get that third fight with Tyson, only so much you can do to stop him. Triller certainly won't.
I'm cool with an exhibition.
Make Tyson wear one of those Hannibal Lecter masks, and I'm good with it.
Let Tyson take the other ear.
That would be great for Triller. Triller should just go into pro wrestling, do it like have Tyson rolled out on the hand truck, and let's get this started. And then I have to ask as well, what do you think is next for Vitor?
I think we all know what's next for Vitor, right? After he made his intentions pretty clear with that call out.
Well, he called out multiple people. He called out Jake Paul, and then has a $25 million winner takes all.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also called out Canelo Alvarez, the significantly smaller man who was the number one pound for pound boxer in the world, and who's in his prime. But Vitor is like, hey, you said this was not a legitimate boxing fight, and if it's so easy, come make some easy money.
I think Jake Paul's more likely to take him up on that than Canelo.
If you're Jake Paul, do you even go near Vitor with a 25-foot pole? I mean, Vitor.
No, I don't think either of them are too keen on throwing hands with Vitor anytime soon. But I think Canelo, like you said, significantly smaller. I think that would just be insanity for him to fight Vitor.
Well, Canelo's on the quest for greatness. I mean, he really is trying his best to actually unify all the belts in a few different weight classes, and he's trying to fight actual mandatories. Canelo's a legitimate championship level boxer in the prime of his career. He should just avoid these freak show fights until he's washed, like they all do.
But exactly. What's he have to gain from fighting Vitor?
For Vitor and Jake Paul to happen, Jake Paul has to reconcile a little bit with Triller, because if you remember, Jake Paul's last fight was on Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And he supposedly retired, if you recall. Jake Paul's retired.
Oh, he's pulling a McGregor.
He probably is. He's pulling a retirement in combat sports mean nothing. I mean, 58-year-old Evander Holyfield's out here fighting.
Well, it doesn't mean much in rock and roll either. Remember Motley Crue? They retired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did the Scorpions. They've had like 5 retirement tours.
They told everybody their tour, that was it a few years ago, and they're back.
Yeah.
Every rock star does, and then they realize cocaine's expensive, like Dana White said.
Hey, that's right. Oscar De La Hoya right there, who, speaking of, was actually supposed to be Vitor's opponent, but he tested positive for coronavirus.
He got the cough.
Wow.
And Holyfield took it on short notice. So how would De La Hoya have fared if it was him in the ring?
Vitor would have beat the crap out of De La Hoya.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be the next fight? Because I don't think Jake Paul is going to accept it, because Jake Paul can make money boxing a janitor. He can make the same money boxing whoever he wants. And why would you take that fight? Because Jake Paul's bubble bursts the second he gets flatlined. Well, and he just got a taste of Woodley.
hopefully that IRS guys that don't like Donald Trump go after Jake Paul, and Jake Paul has to take the fight, and we get to see him get his block knocked off.
Oh,
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. But
Jake Paul doesn't look like the kind of guy that knows how to pay his taxes. So,
well, call me crazy though. I wouldn't mind seeing the De La Hoya versus Vitor, just because I think it would be funny.
Well, De La Hoya would put up some defense, but I don't know if he could even hurt him.
He's a lot faster though. He's definitely smaller.
Yeah, but I don't think he could hurt him. I mean, he could probably hit him, but I don't know if he's going to hurt him.
You don't think he could stick?
I mean, how old is the Golden Boy?
I can find that out for you right now.
Yeah, I'm just curious because it's been a long time since he's been in the ring, and the last few times he was in, he was all defense.
He is 48 years old.
He's 4 years older but he's only 4 years older than Vitor.
Yeah.
And Holyfield is 14 years older.
The Holyfield difference is unbelievable.
So I wouldn't mind seeing it just because De La Hoya has been itching to get back in there. And he was supposed to be the original opponent. So why not?
I think that COVID was planned. I don't think there was any way he was going to fight.
You think he saw the pictures on Vitor's Instagram and was like, oh no, it's 2013 Vitor.
I think he took an instant test and he sprinkled a little Coca-Cola on it and he pulled a high school student. I'm out of here. I'm positive.
Peace, guys. Yeah.
He did the whole trick of warming up a thermometer under a hairdryer.
Yep. That's what I think.
I don't know, but do you think
I want to talk a bit about what do you think of Triller's musical acts that they had throughout, like in between all the fights? Like, what do you think of that whole concept?
No.
I didn't think about it.
I mean, fair enough. I think it's actually great for casual fans, people that don't normally watch boxing, getting them there. I think they love it. I think that's why Triller does it. Triller's not trying to appeal to, hardcore fans or mainstream fans. They're just trying to get the casual audience.
I don't think Triller has made
expand their brand. Anything to expand their brand. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think Triller has made a
all
profit.
a capitalist nation now. Socialism hasn't totally taken over. So it's okay for somebody to create a market and make money.
Yeah, fair enough.
And entertain people at the same time.
I mean, I don't mind the musical acts. They aren't typically, my kind of thing, but if they varied it up a bit, then I could see myself not hating it.
It's a fight card.
Yeah, there are some concerts in between. What's happening?
Most of the broadcast should be related to fighting. I would be fine with maybe one or two, but between every single fight,
that is a little overboard, isn't it?
What is this? And then you have these weird extended promo advertisements for a rap battle that you can only access by paying Triller's monthly streaming service. You have just the weirdest. I don't know what their business model is. They have a rap battle as the main event for boxing.
That is odd.
It's a cash grab. I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with that. Try something new, make some money. Totally good with it.
So who watches that though? Who is like, you know what? I'm gonna take my time out of my day.
It's like I said.
Who cares? Fat Joe rap battle against Ja Rule.
How much does it cost them to produce it? So if they get 100 people watching it and they make $1 an hour, they're ahead of the game.
But they also have to pay legitimate boxers, and they're paying all these musical acts. Musical acts aren't cheap.
Who knows? I bet they get some of them free.
I will say the best musical act on the entire card was that really weird one with Snoop Dogg and Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
So Marvin Gaye is not alive, But what they did is they had like a concert footage. It was all footage they showed, but they edited Snoop Dogg into one of Marvin Gaye's concerts. And they had like a point in the show or in it where they extended the song a little bit and had Snoop Dogg rap and like do this weird duet with Marvin Gaye. Now it sounded terrible, but it was still somewhat entertaining.
Well, how much music has Snoop Dogg recorded that's actually sounded good? Not much. Marvin Gaye was phenomenal. He wrote music, and Marvin Gaye, and this I'll educate the audience a little because I'm older. Marvin Gaye was murdered by his parents, and they got off.
Really?
Damn.
I didn't know that.
Look into it. He was a cash cow for his family. He was a drug addict, and he was a little bit strange, but he was a phenomenal writer and producer. And they shot him under very strange circumstances, saying that he was threatening them, and they got off scot-free. And guess who inherited all his money?
The same people that shot
parents. Yes.
Yeah.
Man,
Marvin Gaye was murdered by his parents, and they got off.
Man, maybe we should have a little bit of conspiracy hour with the old man as a segment.
Hey, I'm just telling you. That's it. That's in my wheelhouse. That's older stuff because that was one of the weirdest things ever. I remember hearing the news report. Marvin Gaye was shot and killed. His parents shot him. His dad shot him. Supposedly they were in fear for their life. It's like, this guy's been your bankroll your whole life, and you killed him. I mean, it was very strange circumstances.
That's pretty rough. Well,
kind of like Evander Holyfield getting beat up and Tito Ortiz getting beat up, but they didn't die.
Well, I do have to ask them, what's your thoughts on JFK?
I don't want to go there.
I heard a fantastic joke. Well, I'll get on this, and I promise we'll get back to talking about Triller fighting. But when I was in my one of my history classes, my professor tells a joke about some historians. They die, they go up to heaven, and then they ask God, "Hey, who killed JFK?" And then God responds, I have a theory about that. So, all right. And we
Oliver
can move
Stone,
on.
There's a lot of them.
My favorite one is that his head just like did that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, his head just like did that. I don't know.
Just did that? Okay.
Yeah, man. I don't get it either.
How it feels to chew 5 gum. Or just a Bruder film.
That was it. Yeah. Is 5 gum even still available?
Yeah, it's still. I think at least I haven't had it for a long time. Okay, but let's get back to some
5 gum was like Theranos. Oh, it's a business model that failed. It's not illegal to fail. Okay.
So, what did you guys think of Trump's overall broadcast? Personally, I thought it was really funny. Especially when he went on and gave this kind of speech after the event and thanked everyone. It was pretty cool how he was like, hey, Evander's a really tough dude. I've never seen Evander beaten like that. Props to you, Vitor. And then he called Vitor a true American patriot, which is kind of funny.
Wow.
But
I will admit, I slept through the original broadcast, but I watched most things. Like I rewatched everything online. But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything with the Trump commentary, so I can't really say too much about it. All the stuff I found was the professional broadcast.
It was called Trump No Holds Bar commentary, and he didn't do anything too crazy. I mean, he definitely made his politics known, and the crowd was very much in favor of Trump. I mean, he got an immense amount of love there. And
Hollywood, Florida.
Fair enough. But on the broadcast, he had amazing chemistry with former UFC heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos. It was really great. And then Masvidal was with him at one point. It was just a lot of fun to watch.
Maybe they shared a tanning bed.
Maybe. Trump Jr. looked somewhat uncomfortable, I have to say. It seemed like this was more of his dad's world. And He was just kind of along for the ride, but Trump was surprisingly decent on commentary. Now, he wasn't going like, oh, he has a nice left hook, or he wasn't like commentating the actual action, but he was just talking about the fighters in general. It was kind of cool to hear him talk about his history with Evander Holyfield and how he bet on Holyfield in his first fight against Tyson. That was really interesting. And just hearing his recall, it was very surprising that he was remembered as much as he did. And it's kind of cool just to see I don't care if you love him or hate him, but the former president of the United States commentating a fight. Like, I don't care who it is. You're saying it wouldn't be kind of funny to hear W. Bush or Obama commentate a fight? That'd be pretty great.
Well, if Obama commentated, you'd probably fall asleep. But I think the Bushes might be interesting. You know what? Bill Clinton would probably be good.
Have him as one of the Triller's musical acts. Break out the saxophone.
Yeah, break out the saxophone again, just like the 90s. That'd be
He
great.
could have been right.
Bring out some 90s boxers, have him go at it, and have Bill Clinton come out with the saxophone, and let's get it going there. And parting thoughts on this. Do you guys think Triller's brand is sustainable? I mean, they are spending ludicrous amounts of money. And are they really even profiting here?
Without seeing the balance sheet, it'd be tough to tell. But I gotta think they're making money.
So I will say, from because I was a business major in college, and a marketing major specifically, they are spending insane amounts of money on the musical acts, the fighter payouts. And I think part of that's trying to make a point about fighter pay. And that's like a good angle right now. But I don't think they're trying to necessarily they're obviously trying not to necessarily go the traditional fight route. They're not trying to be like in a true boxing promotion. I think they're trying to market themselves almost as an experience. It's not just the fights, it's the musical acts, it's the rap battles, it's having, weird, interesting commentators. It's like they're trying to create a whole experience around it. And I think if they build their brand enough to where people aren't necessarily coming to see like Snoop Dogg or 50 Cent, they can transition to artists that will cost them less, and they'll start to see more profit there. But at the moment, if they keep on the route they're going, then I don't think it's going to look good. I think they're just too many high profiles.
Well, they spent, I looked it up just to make sure, over $6 million on Teofimo Lopez's purse bid, doubling the next closest competitor for it. And all he's doing is defending his belt against a random mandatory. Yeah. And they had the fight going on like a Tuesday night. You got a high-level boxer, champion boxer, arguably one of the best pound for pound. I mean, he did beat Vasily Lomachenko by decision. And you doubled the amount of money as the next promoter for the purse bid. That's, I don't know. There's not a lot of interest there. They're definitely losing money on that one.
No,
there's no way they're making money on the Lopez one.
I mean, granted, yeah, but I think, like I said, I think the Triller experience is something that's going to attract more and more people. And as they do that, they can start to let their higher profiles go, because you're coming to see the craziness that is a Triller card, not coming to see Snoop Dogg necessarily,
Well, Snoop Dogg's always there.
Yeah, I mean, granted, yes, Snoop Dogg is always there. But we'll see
Snoop Dogg can make a buck.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years. We'll see how they transition their talent.
Hey, the Trailer Park Boys made money on Netflix, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Triller could make money too. Let's just see what happens. On that note, I'm out of here. See you, boys.
All right. It was great having you. It was great having you on. Have a good one,
Okay,
Bob.
take care. Bye.
All right. So he always brings some insightful commentary. Hope we can have him on again in the future.
Absolutely, always. It's always a pleasure to talk with your dad. He's an interesting man,
He was exceptionally fired up about this one. He had a lot to say.
Yeah, I remember about an hour, 30 minutes before we started this, Zach called me up and he goes, Hey, we're gonna have my dad on tonight because he's got some opinions about that.
He definitely had some.
Yeah.
So I just kind of let him go with it for a little bit. But, the show was pretty fun. Do you have any other thoughts on the Triller card or anything like that?
Triller cards are always an experience. They're always just absolutely insane. The fight was probably like the fight in the stands during the moment of silence was probably the funniest thing that happened in any kind of promotion in a long time. I'm not gonna lie.
I think Triller has to be way better live.
Oh, absolutely.
It just does.
Absolutely. It's got to be just absolutely insane live. But
that's what we should do. I mean, they're obviously going to keep coming to Florida. So we should figure out where the fight's going to be there. And we should maybe do a vlog where we just go around.
Let us know if you'd like to see a Triller card vlog-esque thing. We'll pull up to one of the fights and we'll experience firsthand how crazy it is. And we'll share some of our experiences with you.
We're just going to commentate the fan fights. That's pretty much it. That's all we got to do. Just watch the fan fights and get it going. But
start a couple fights in the crowd, rile things up,
Hopefully we don't have a bloodbath of a comment section. Let's hope that we don't have any fights with our fans, or hopefully we can get some fans. I'll
fight any one of them.
Oh, can I be the musical act?
I'll lose too.
Can I be the musical act? Just the horrendous musical act?
I want you to be singing while I throw hands with one of our fans.
Yeah, one of our fans. You mean one of our parents?
Yeah. One of the 20 people that watched us once,
Oh, we're not even at 20 on the last one, bro.
Oh, it's okay.
That's very optimistic, my guy.
I mean, hey, man, I'm an optimist at heart. I believe in it.
So I did enjoy doing this. We'll have to have him on again. I'll let you know. I'm having fun doing these. I'll let you know when he has a lot of opinions, and we'll get him on. So
absolutely.
Enough of our rambling. So you guys have a good one, and it was a really fun card. And leave a like, leave a comment, tell a friend. That'd be awesome. And hit the bell icon for any notifications when we post new videos.
Absolutely. It was great to talk about Tito and I was such a big guy again. Hope you enjoyed, guys.